So every time I think about adding a moon phase to my collection, the thought does cross my mind, do I really need a moon phase? Moon phase is kind of a useless complication. But when you really think about it, a moon phase complication is such a beautiful complication that that's kind of its use. It's there to be beautiful. It's a way for a brand to showcase their art. So that's why I'm kind of excited to show you guys this moon phase, especially the way they executed the moon phase. And being a videographer myself, I wanted to put this under macro, and it's absolutely stunning. But guys, before I continue on with this review, allow me to introduce myself. My name is AB, I run the Watch Collection Productions, and in today's episode, I'm going to be showcasing to you guys the Christopher Ward Moonglow. I'm going to be telling you guys all the specifications and my personal opinions on this watch, whether you should buy it or not, and I do have a few negatives. So guys, let's just check out this Christopher Ward Moonglow. So my first experience ever with a micro brand was Christopher Ward C60. The OG one with the original logo. As soon as I handled that watch, I was hooked on finding good boutique brands. The case shape, the extremely well finished lugs, and the movement choice for the price point was awesome. To be honest, I really wish that they reissued that watch, but I digress. Since then, Christopher Ward's gotten extremely popular in the watch community, and for good reason. They make good looking watches with decent prices. They're pretty bold with some of their designs, which can sometimes come out a little too much, but at least they're doing something other than vintage reissues. Well, for a brand this young, they have nothing to reissue, I suppose. Now finally, what put this brand on the map is the fact that they created in-house calibers when they first showcased their SH21, and for those who don't know, for a micro brand to create their own in-house caliber is pretty impressive. But now that we've gotten to know the brand a little bit better, let's talk about the watch in front of us. So right off the bat, the first thing you realize when you pick up this watch, while the dial is a definite standout, the thing you actually notice is how good the watch feels in hand. The watch feels solid, which is a good thing for someone purchasing this watch as a casual piece. While the aesthetics lean towards a dressier piece, the unconventional moon phase and the size kind of suggest otherwise. So speaking of the size, let's get the specifications out of the way first. This watch has a 40.5mm case, but to be honest with you, I thought it was a little bit smaller when I first wore it on the wrist. It felt like a 39mm case for sure, but it is 40.5, so it does lean towards the more casual vibe. The case has some nice angles and contours that makes it quite comfortable on the wrist. I've been wearing this on different straps, as you'll see later on in the video, and this piece has kind of become my daily lately, especially here in the hot weather of Florida. It's actually never been a problem when it comes to comfort. Now of course the watch also has 13mm of thickness, which isn't dressy by any means, but it is quite comfortable. And finally, the reason why this would fit pretty much any wrist, it has 48.5mm lug to lug, which means top to bottom. Okay, I know what you're gonna say. We have to talk about the dial. I just thought it sort of spoke for itself. After all, if you buy this piece, let's be honest, it's because of that gorgeous dial. That said, the dial is actually where I have my negative points about the watch. The dial has a beautiful true moon phase, and I say that because most watches, or a lot of watches, actually have moons on the dial, but it isn't actually a true moon phase. It doesn't actually calculate the lunar cycles. This one does, with an impressive caliber, which we're going to talk about later on, and the moon has some gorgeous details, but I have seen better. For example, the Speedmaster moon phase, it had so much detail to the point where I needed to use a macro lens to see that they actually had the astronaut's footprint on there. That said, this watch for the price point had a lot of really good details, and without a macro lens, the dial is absolutely stunning. When creating an unconventional moon phase, in my opinion, other than Hermes, most get it wrong. Not in this case, however. There's nothing wrong with the dial layout, and there's nothing I would really change. Well, except for maybe one thing that is actually my second negative, which is that smoky layer hiding the second moon phase. I think it could have been a little bit darker. Personally, I feel like it distracts away from the dial just a little bit, but I feel like it's more of a personal complaint, however, because people might like seeing both moons at the same time, and I guess that's what makes it more unique, I suppose. But I feel like that layer, if it was just a little bit darker, it would have been perfect, but that is just my honest opinion. Finally, for those wondering what those outer numerals are on the dial, it's a date complication. There's nothing to complain about it. You get a date complication, and it's actually a useful complication. Don't email me. Finally, I wanted to show you guys this watch in a more casual vibe. The first thing I paired it with was a suede strap from B&R Bands. I think it worked really well. And then I also put this strap from watchug. I can't really remember what the name of the strap was, but it's kind of a taupe color. And I think it worked really well, but the best one in my opinion was that Saffiano strap that I paired it with from Veblenist. So I posted a community post asking you guys what you wanted to know about this watch specifically in case I missed anything in the review. So I did get a lot of questions about whether I thought this watch would be easy to dress up and down, and in my opinion, yes, especially with the size of 40.5 millimeters, and the moon phase is not conventional whatsoever. It's not that dressy moon phase. It actually has kind of a casual vibe to it. So yes, in my opinion, you could dress it up, dress it down, and I actually feel like this is more of a casual watch rather than a dress watch. The thickness and the size makes it kind of nice to dress it up and down, but it leans more towards the casual side. Of course, finally, when it comes to Christopher Ward, we do have to talk about the logo. Typically, I'm not a fan of their logo when they put it to the side with their dive watches, but in this instance, it actually works because if they put it on the top at the 12 o'clock, it would probably distract away from the moon phase. But in this instance, I do kind of like it. But with their dive watches, I feel like they should kind of listen to what we're asking. We like the logo at 12 o'clock. Most people, at least I see in comments and so on, most people complain about the logo not being at 12 o'clock. So I feel like that's something Christopher Ward should do with their dive watches. But in this instance, it works perfectly. Now the last thing, which is actually the most impressive part about this watch, is Christopher Ward's developed in-house module that is combined with an ETA 2836 and it became their JJ04 caliber. This is accurate to 1 day per every 128 years of continuous operation when it comes to the moon phase. This was actually quite an accomplishment for a boutique brand, and it's a solid movement, and you're just getting a lot of value when it comes to the caliber for an in-house caliber, well, semi-in-house caliber from a boutique brand in my honest opinion. But guys, thank you so much for joining me here today. I would love to hear from you what you think about this watch. Personally, I'm actually a big fan of this watch. I think it's absolutely stunning, and I'm kind of partial towards thicker dress watches, so take that with a grain of salt, but I absolutely love this watch. It's one of the most beautiful unconventional moon phases I've seen out there. The details on the moon, the stars, everything about this watch is absolutely stunning. But of course, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Do you like it? What don't you like about it? Let us know in the comments. And guys, as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.